Well, hi there everyone, welcome back to Wyther Farms. It's just gone 9 o'clock in the morning on day 4 since we purchased this piece of land, and as you can see our crop of soybeans is coming on quite nicely. I'm hoping this will be kind of ready to harvest today. It's kind of in its 4th stage of growth at the moment, so coming on quite nicely. Now I don't know what the yield potential is going to be on this field. We haven't taken any soil samples yet, but I'll be pretty pleased with whatever we get off this field, to be honest with you. Now it's sort of preempting the harvest. What I've also done is had a quick look at the contracts today, and I'm going to lease a combine, but I'm going to try and get as good value out of that as I possibly can. So I've taken on 2 harvest contracts, one in field 12 and then one in field 25. Now they're reasonable values, as you can see, and hopefully we'll get some reasonable harvest, a share of the harvest income as well at the same time. So my longer term plan over the next few days is really to try and purchase some additional land as well. So I have been looking at the map and the purchase prices, and there does seem to be a little bit of kind of not discrepancy, but difference in prices of various fields. Now you maybe remember with Wyther Farms that quite a lot of the land here is potentially up for development, so that might kind of explain some of the variation in the fields. Now if we look at field 1, that's only priced at £17,500 for 1.5 hectares. But if we look at fields 26 and 27 that are combined together, they're just under 2 hectares, but they're over twice the price at £38,514. And then I've spotted that down at the bottom of the map, field 21, we've got just under 10 hectares, field 21, and that's only priced at £81,330. Whereas field 20, by comparison, is just over 6.5 hectares, and that's priced at just under £114,000. So there does seem to be quite a difference in the field prices, so I'm going to try and take advantage of those and see if I can kind of buy some extra land and start to expand and grow the farm. But first things first, I need to get up the shop, get a combine lease so we can get on with those 2 contracts. So having had a little look around, there is this Class Dominator 106 that's available, which is £40,000 to purchase. Now we've got just under £49,000 in the bank, so theoretically I could probably buy this, but I don't want to at the moment because I want to invest in buying some new land. So the leasing cost on this is obviously pretty reasonable, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lease this. Then I obviously need to get the header and the trailer as well. Right, so those are 3 pieces of equipment, so I'm going to get those up to field 12. Now what I have noticed as well since I've been up here is that our own field has turned and is ready for harvesting. Now all of the 2 contracts in field 12 and 25 and our own field are just in the first stage of harvest requirements, so I'm going to go and do the 2 contracts first. I'll need to get somebody to help me so that they can either drive the combine or run corn carts, so I'm going to crack on with that and we'll see you up at field 12. Right, we're up at field 12, bit of a slow journey up the road. This thing only does about 15 miles an hour, so a bit slow. So I'm just going to drop the header trailer off, get the header on, and we'll start cutting this headland out. Well, I think this combine was a good find. Certainly a classic class combine from the early to mid 80s. I can remember seeing quite a few of these out in the fields in and around the area that I used to farm on, and it was good value. A purchase price is only £40,000, which is pretty good for a combine of this size. And the initial leasing cost was £2,858. There's a per hour charge of £1,176 and a per day charge of £560, so pretty good value really. Now I did look at a couple of others. There's the Mega 200 series as well, but that's only got or that was more expensive, slightly bigger grain tank but more expensive. And there also was a JD 7000 series as well, but that only had a 4,800 litre grain tank, and it was more expensive. That's a bit of a shame because the combine that I used to drive myself, or the first combine that I drove when I was 15 years of age back in the early 80s, was a John Deere 975, and the JD 7000 series is the only thing that I've been able to find in Farming Simulator that kind of gets close to it. So I was kind of quite keen to maybe get that, but in the end I plumbed for this one because I just thought it was the better combine. The bigger grain tank was probably going to get us a little bit further and help in terms of corn carts, so we didn't end up having to stop and wait for the trailer to return. So I'm pretty pleased with this, and they certainly were a classic combine, that's for sure, and a little bit different to some other combines that you might see, where the engine was positioned directly behind the cab and the grain tank further back, whereas in a lot of combines you'll notice that the grain tank typically is immediately behind the cab and the engine is then sat behind that. I've just cut this little section out down at the bottom, just for ease, really. And we should, hopefully, with a 7,500 litre grain tank, the trailer is 14,500 litres, so we should be able to get almost 2 tankfuls into the grain trailer. And then I'm hoping that the road trip up to the selling point will just about get us back in time before the combine kind of fills up. So timing-wise, hopefully that will kind of work out and the combine won't have to stop. So we've got quite a busy afternoon. Or day of it, I should say. So we've got this field to do, then we'll go down and do the oats in field 25, and then we'll crack on with our own field, but that shouldn't take us too long. Now I'm trying to build my budget really through for this afternoon, and hopefully having seen some of those field prices, I'm really keen to try and get that field 21 if I can, because it seems to be extremely good value for money. So the cost of that of 81,330 for 9.65 hectares, that works out at a little under £8,500 per hectare. Now, by comparison, field 20, which was £113,616, was only for 6.57 hectares, which works out at £17,291 per hectare. So over twice the price. So I'm pretty keen to try and buy that field 21 if I can. And it's got a crop of oilseed rape on it at the moment, or canola. And that's, I think, in its last growth stage. So maybe as the day goes by, we might be in a situation where that's going to be ready for harvest as well. So if I can manage to purchase that and then harvest the crop that's on it, then we're going to be able to earn some decent money for that. So at the moment, where are we? About 43,000 in the bank. We've got these 2 contracts to do and everything else. I think I've sort of worked out roughly we should hopefully end up with somewhere between 60 and 65,000 by the time we've done these 2 contracts and our own field, but we'll see how things progress as the day goes on. So you might have noticed as I was unloading that trailer last time round, I think that was probably my 4th or maybe 5th trip up to the selling point. We were at 76% of the crop delivered. I think hopefully we will still get a bit of harvest income. I'm not 100% sure how things are going to work out. But from a financial point of view, I'm hoping that the actual contract value of these 2 harvest contracts that we're doing will be around about 12,000. And then I'm hoping that we'll probably get, I don't know, 6, 7, 8,000 from our own crop, something along those lines. And then hopefully we'll also get a bit of harvest income as well. Now, I need to cover some wages, obviously, and to cover the lease cost of the combine, or the additional hourly cost as well. So I need to be mindful of that. But I'm hoping that we'll kind of end up, like I said, somewhere between 60 and 65,000 pounds. Now we're still going to be fairly short in terms of being able to purchase that field 21 at 81,000 pounds. And I do need to keep a little bit of money kind of off to one side, so I've got money for fuel and those sorts of things. So it's very likely that I'm going to have to try and find some other contracts a little bit later as well. So I'm hoping that a few harvest contracts or more harvest contracts will come up. At the moment, there seems to be quite a few, but they're for potatoes, and there's one for corn as well, which is in the field that's kind of next to our plot of land. But that means I've got to get a corn header. So and it's quite a big field, so that could take quite a long time. So we'll have to see how things work out. Well, I've moved down to field 25 now. We've finished up with field 12, making £14,139 in total, of which 4,686 was harvest income. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So we'll crack on with this one, and then once we've finished here, I'll go back and harvest my own field of soybeans, and then I think I'll have to have a look at the contracts and then see what else is available. Might be that we'll end up taking on a few other things. Well, just on the way back to our own field here, we finished up field 25 fairly quickly, and we earned just under £5,000 in total for that contract. So between those two contracts of field 12 and field 25, we earned £19,000 in total. So I'm pretty pleased with that one. So I'm just going to drop the trailer off, put the header on, and we'll crack on with harvesting our own field. Right, we're all good to go here. I'm going to go around the field anti-clockwise. Sometimes that's not a bad idea. The drive for the headers is always on the left-hand side, or it certainly has been in the combines that I'm aware of. And so sometimes actually going around the field in an anti-clockwise direction is better because you don't risk the possibility of doing damage to the drive that's on the left-hand side there. And because this is quite a small field, I'll quite easily make it all the way round without having to worry about unloading or anything like that at all. So that can be beneficial sometimes. Now, I'm not really sure what we're going to end up with yield-wise on this field. Like I said, I haven't taken any soil samples at the moment, so I've got no idea really where the soil fertility is at this point in time. But once we've harvested this field, as soon as we get a little bit of time, we will go and get the Osseria Scout. We'll probably just lease that and take a soil sample on here. And if we do manage to buy field 21, then we'll probably do that as well at the same time. And then we'll have a good idea of what we need to do with it in terms of lime and fertilizer and so on and so forth. Now, I know that somebody pointed out as well the set of rolls that I've kind of used as a fertilizer replacement, and of course they're not actually applying fertilizer, but I guess the game doesn't really take that into consideration. So the whole purpose of the rolls is that it gives obviously the seed a better seed to soil contact, and gives it a good start in terms of kind of initial germination. So hopefully that creates a strong plant when you first seeded it. But I think as far as the precision farming is concerned, they'll just see that as another layer of fertilizer. So we're going to crack on with this, and hopefully the yield won't be too bad, and hopefully it'll boost our kind of budget. But like I said earlier, I'm going to take a little look at the contracts, see what else is available. If we can do some of the harvest contracts, then brilliant. If not, then I'll see what else we can kind of do, see what we can pick up to see if we can get our budget up over £80,000 today, so I can try and purchase that field 21. Well, the combine's just about full, but I haven't emptied it yet, so that will be 7,500 litres plus whatever else is left in the field. So I'm kind of not expecting a huge amount, maybe 9,000 litres in total, something like that. And I had a little look at the sales prices, and the best option for soybeans is £929 per 1,000 litres up at Titches Agri. So we'll be going up there shortly, and so I'm guessing, kind of based on those prices, we'll probably make around about £8,000 in total, something like that. So there we go, a little over £8,000, which takes us up to just under 66,500 in total. Now, I have been having a look at the contracts as well. I didn't see too much on the harvest front. The contracts that do seem to be available are for potato harvest and sugar beet. There is one corn contract, but I don't have a corn header at the moment, and I don't really want to buy one. But I have taken these contracts on. Field 13 for fertilizing, and then we've got field 12 for cultivating. Now, they're next door to each other, and I can use the set of rolls that we've got to do both, which is pretty handy. And then we've also got field 18 for ploughing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lease another tractor at low cost. I'm going to get that to do the ploughing contracts in field 18 with a helper, and then I'll go up and do the other two. Well, I'll lease this Fiat. Only cost about £1,250 for the initial leasing cost. Might have to do another hour, I'm not sure. And I've got a helper in here, so they're cracking on doing this ploughing contract in field 18. It's quite a big field, but 12 and 13 are a fair size as well, so I suspect that we'll end up finishing around about the same sort of time. Well, after I've got that ploughing contract underway in field 18, I've brought the rolls up to field 13. So I'm going to do the fertilizing first, as you can see. So the good thing about this set of rolls is obviously they double up for both fertilizing and as a cultivator. So once I've finished in field 13 here, I'll be able to take it over to field 12 and then use it for doing the cultivating as well, which is pretty useful. Now this thing carries a fair old speed, as you can see. I've kind of got it set to about 18 miles an hour, but it will go a bit faster, so it shouldn't take me too long to get this field done. Right, I've moved over to field 12 now. I just need to change a few settings for this set of rolls. So I need to turn the cultivator on, and then I need to lower the batter boards that are at the front. And once I've done that, then it converts it obviously into a cultivator, and away we go. 6 metre width, so that's pretty good. Hopefully it won't take us too long to be able to do this. Obviously going to be a little bit of time, and I'm kind of guessing the ploughing contract in field 18 is about halfway through, so I'm kind of hoping that we'll probably end up finishing around about the same sort of time. It looks like the tractor probably might need a little bit of servicing, and I think the rolls do as well, so we're kind of down to about 7 mile an hour speeds. We might ordinarily be able to go a little bit faster than that, but it's not too bad. Right, I'm going to crack on with this, and I will catch up with you in a little while. So it's early evening. I've finished that contract up at field 12. So I've taken the tractor back to our makeshift yard, and as you can see, the Fiat here is on the headland work now, so he's probably got one more trip around the headland and then he'll be finished as well. So when we finished that contract at field 13, the fertilizing one, we had about 79,000 in the bank. So with field 12 and with this contract, we should be certainly over 85,000 in the bank, and therefore should have enough money to buy that field 21. Right, I'm back at the yard now, and as you can see, it's just coming up to £6:30, and we have got £88,437 in the bank, which is pretty good. So I am going to go and purchase that field 21. So I'm going to get that. Which is certainly a good buy, I think, from my perspective. Now, the other thing that I've done as well is that the original access track into here was kind of coming in via the shop, and then these tracks that go round the sort of pond area and come down by the side of field 20. So what I've actually done as well is that I've cut through the hedge, so you can cut the posts that are in the middle of the hedge there, and I've created an access that's just kind of on the corner of field 20 opposite our entrance, so that I can kind of come in this way and then get into the top of field 21 here. So that's pretty good. And having checked out the prices for canola as well, Alien Grains is the best price, and that's located just down here next to the farm shop and the spinnery. So that's pretty handy as well. So I'm going to crack on with the harvest for that field. Hopefully we've got another sort of hour or so of daylight, so I'm going to kind of get on with that and do as much of that as I can this evening. Right, I'm just going to cross over the road here. You can see the gap in the hedge that I've made. Now, that's very simple to do. I think if you look at the hedge that's on the left-hand side here, you can see the posts that are in the middle of the hedge. So all you have to do is cut those down with a chainsaw. That removes the first section of hedge. It leaves the post, and then you just have to cut the post itself down. And as you can see, I've kind of cut another section of hedge out in this corner here to give me access into field 21. Now I'm just going to raise my header reel up and out as far as it will go. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but oilseed rape or canola grows quite tall, and the little pods that contain the little black seeds, they can shell quite easily, which means that they'll, if you only have to kind of tap them, and the seeds can kind of fall out of the little pods. And you may have noticed as well that on some combine headers, when you're cutting oilseed rape, you get a slightly different header table, so it extends a little bit out further, and they also kind of put two side knives on And now part of the reason for that is that if you do get some shelling from the reel as you're combining, then the seeds that fall out fall onto the extended header table and therefore go in through the combine rather than just kind of falling onto the ground, and therefore you get a higher rate of loss. And then the side knives that you can see either side, now the oilseed rape as it grows kind of grows into one another, and as you go through the crop, then that kind of needs cutting at the side so it doesn't get all tangled up around the reel. So I'm going to carry on harvesting this field. Hopefully I'll get a fair bit of it done this evening. I'm hoping that we may be able to carry on combining probably through it until it's dark. It's always a bit of a worry that if you kind of sleep overnight, by the time you come in the morning the crop might have withered. So I'm probably keen to get as much of this done this evening as I can. But we've had a good day. I'm really pleased that we've managed to get enough budget to buy this field 21. Wasn't expecting to get such a big field, but I think really good value for money. So very pleased with that. Right, I'm going to leave the video here, so I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to leave a comment, then please do so. Certainly be interested to understand or know what you think and maybe what I should do next. So take care, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, stay safe, and I will catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.